Welcome to the Psychic Matters podcast, where science meets spirituality. Get ready to redefine the significance of living with me, your host, Anne Theato. Hello and welcome to episode 89 of the show. Wouldn't it be wonderful if you could immediately find a parking space in a crowded town centre? Imagine being able to drive up the correct aisle of an overcrowded car park and easily park your car. What would it be like if you knew in advance the colour of the cars you would be parking beside? That might sound to you like something paranormal, and you're right, it is. I am here to tell you that I use this remote viewing technique every single week to park my car, and when I do it correctly, it works every single time. Remote viewing is a psychic ability that allows an individual to perceive information about a distant or unseen target using extrasensory perception, or ESP as it's known. And it's a skill that's been around for centuries. And that same skill has been used for many, many years by the military and intelligence agencies to gather information about targets that are difficult to reach physically. But how can this simple skill be used in a simple way? To find a parking space, for instance. Well, parking, as we all know, in a crowded area can be a challenging task, and it can take a long time to find a space, and it can be so frustrating when you're driving round and round and round and you can't seem to find one. Well, this is where remote viewing can change your life. I'm going to teach you a very quick technique that you can use going forwards, which will help you to find a parking space every time you need one. You can do this either before you set off, or you can do it just a few minutes before you reach your destination. Doesn't matter. Just don't leave it to the last minute before you arrive, because I find it doesn't work so well. Years ago, I was told by somebody to ask my parking angels for a parking space. So, my method years ago was to say, "Hi there, parking angels," in my mind. "Please, can you find me a parking spot at my destination? I'm heading over to X," wherever X was, and quite often, probably about 70% of the time, I would find a parking space, and I thought my parking angels were amazing. But since I've been studying remote viewing to a very advanced degree, I have discovered that my own psychic mind is far more powerful and reliable and accurate, and indeed it's made me question whether parking angels even exist, and was it always my psychic mind anyway? All I know currently is that this method I'm about to teach you is now my preferred method of finding a parking space, because it's more effective. And now that I've practiced it for a little while, it takes literally a nanosecond to find my parking space in my mind's eye. So for best results, here is my method. To begin, find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed. Sit in a comfortable position and take a few deep breaths and just relax. Clear your mind of any distractions from the day, anything that's on your mind. Just put that to one side for a moment and focus purely on the intention of finding a parking space. Focus clearly on parking easily at your destination. Focus clearly on arriving in a calm and stress-free manner and pulling easily into your awaiting parking space. I mean, don't spend hours doing this, folks. Just 30 seconds of focused thought is more than enough. Now, using your psychic ability, your innate intuitive knowing, everybody's got it, project your consciousness to the parking area. Imagine yourself, visualize yourself, see yourself arriving at that area, and scan in your mind the parking spaces for an empty spot. Allow your intuition to guide you, and importantly, trust the images and the feelings that come immediately to you. You may see a specific colour or a shape that catches your attention, or you may feel drawn to a particular area. Whatever you do, follow these impressions. Keep your mind open. It's really important that you understand that you may not receive a clear image or a message right away, and it may take you a few attempts before you start to see results. Or you might find that your parking space becomes clearer and clearer to you as you are literally driving towards it. When you feel confident that you have found a parking space in your mind's eye, return your consciousness to your physical body and head to the location. Trust that the space you have seen in your remote viewing session will be there waiting for you. So if I am parking on a street, I will visualize that street in my mind, and I will be able to clairvoyantly see immediately where there are spaces. I can even now see the colour of the cars that will be both in front and behind me after I park. So I visualize the street in my mind, and as I drive, I feel an energetic pull or a tug almost in my mind that pulls my attention to what feels like a darker area on the street, and I know that that darker area is an empty space. If I'm driving to a car park, I will visualize the whole car park in my mind, and I will know whether I need to go to the left of that car park or the right of that car park. And once I've decided whether I'm going left or right, I will be able to see which aisle to drive up. So in my particular car park, there are 3 aisles on the right side of the car park, the left, middle and the right, and 3 aisles on the left side of the car park, left, middle and right. And I will be able to psychically feel a pull or a tug in my mind, and I will know whether I'm going left or right first of all, and then once I've decided, I will know which of those 3 aisles to drive up. Then as I drive up that aisle in my mind's eye, I get another pull which indicates an empty space. I quite often clairvoyantly see how many cars are parked on that aisle. So say for instance, I can see in my mind's eye that 6 cars are parked up, and then the 7th space feels kind of empty to me. Feels like a darker, greyer space. So I know that there is an empty space there where this darker grey area is in my mind. So I've chosen the right-hand side of the car park, and out of those 3 aisles available, I feel drawn to the middle aisle, and then I see the 6 cars parked up and the 7th empty space for me. And that is how I do it. So I can see the cars parked up in my mind in the allocated spaces, but I can also see and visualize the empty spaces, and my energy is then pulled to those empty spaces. Sometimes it's easier to see the cars that are already parked up there, and then you just know that there is an empty space to the left or to the right. So to conclude, if you use this method of remote viewing, you can find a parking space and impress your friends and family by always being able to find a parking space every time you go out. It's a fun and practical way to apply your psychic abilities to everyday life. And the great thing is, everyone who is listening to this podcast is psychic. Every single human being that walks on this planet is psychic. We all have intuitive abilities. They are powerful, they are paranormal, and we need to harness them. This is just an entertaining example of how we can use remote viewing and the power of the psychic mind for something small. Can you imagine how important our psychic mind truly is? We can do this for a parking space. Therefore, we can also use remote viewing to advance scientific knowledge, for instance, to find a cure for sickness and illness. We can use remote viewing to find missing children and help solve crimes. We can use remote viewing for the betterment of mankind, to promote peace and understanding, to help people to communicate with each other on a deeper level, help them to feel greater empathy for each other and understanding, create understanding between individuals and cultures, to benefit the earth and to help humanity in a million different ways. Science has already proven beyond doubt that remote viewing works and that the psychic mind exists. Everything is energy, and a psychic such as me can simply read the energy of the physical world and the energy of people and places and plants and things that exist across all of time and space. And in this physical realm on Earth, we can read the energy, and also we can read the energy in other realms. Why? Because we are energy feeling, energy interpreting energy. That's why. So the psychic mind is part of our consciousness, and it's attuned to the energies and the vibrations of the universe. It's the part of us that can tap into our intuition, receive messages from the spirit realm, and communicate with other beings beyond the physical world. I really hope you'll begin to investigate the power of your own psychic mind. Don't take my word for it, try it for yourself. Try it in a fun way. Go and find yourself a parking space and let me know how you get on. You can email me at any time using psychicmatterspodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening to the Psychic Matters podcast at antheato.com/podcast-psychic matters. I'm your host, Anne Theato. I'll catch you in the next episode.